Everybody loves doing the right thing until the right thing gets ugly. For example, would you rather have less child abuse or would you rather feel morally clean? Because this entire debate comes down to that one question, and Brittany never answers it.
How do you decide things are right or wrong if they're pragmatic? Pragmatic CP, Destiny?
There is no right or wrong in the sense Brittany is using it. There is only pragmatism. This is because people act in accordance with their values. Even if there were such a thing as intrinsic goodness, it would only be pursued because people chase what they value, not what is supposedly good in itself. And that's why Brittany's being overly condescending, because she's emotionally invested in this debate.
But, I mean, do you want to talk about pragmatism? I feel like those topics would go a little bit over your head, ironically enough.
Normal, because you said it is.
She doesn't have a strong argument, so she's trying to rhetorically make Destiny look bad.
Basically, what the researchers were trying to demonstrate was that under clinical settings where you're treating pedophiles, that if you give them access to certain materials, child pornography materials, that they're less likely to abuse children at large in society, that they won't go out.
So we should give pedophiles child pornography at the chance that they will no longer.
So it's not the chance, okay?
The determining factor here is probability. The hypothetical or moral dilemma is that we have the ability to reduce the probability of children being abused. The result is that fewer children overall will be abused. The cost is that we would be distributing sensitive, personal imagery of victims to be used for sexual gratification. Obviously, this is disturbing to most people, but the dilemma we now have to confront is whether our personal disgust is more valuable or less valuable than the actual result. Fewer SA victims.
From what the researchers were saying, they were saying that if you bring in this material under a controlled program where you're giving therapy to these pedophiles, that you can do two things. One, you treat them so that they no longer have these urges or so they won't act out in society. And then two, by providing access to this material while they're under therapy, they've got a much smaller chance of actually harming a child in society. So that seems to me like a no-brainer. Like, why wouldn't you make that available to them?
Destiny's real point is that he wants an overall better world, at the cost of some momentary icky feelings. Specifically, a world with less total child abuse. Now, people can absolutely disagree with him, but the bullet they won't bite, and must, is that in their world, there is more child abuse. There are two arguments being made simultaneously from Brittany's side. The first is that consequentialism is absurd.
Are you sure about that, buddy?
You're one of those people that think morals are relative. They're not.
What does that mean when you say morals are relative? Wait, can you explain that? That was a pretty big statement.
Relative, you're saying, oh, it depends. It's pragmatic. If it's pragmatic, it's fine. It's fine if you kill people, guys, because it's pragmatic.
The second is that the methodology Destiny is suggesting doesn't work.
When someone points out something you say, you're like, oh, context. There is no context for pragmatic CP. There's no such thing as pragmatic CP, Destiny.
But the distinction needs to be made. These are wildly different conversations. The first thing they need to establish is what their actual goal is. That needs to happen long before they discuss the best methodology for achieving it. But both conversations are being juggled at the same time, which makes everything far more confusing. Here's Destiny's methodological argument within his consequentialist framework for reducing overall child abuse.
So what the researchers said, that I said specifically in that clip, was that what you can do is you can find people that were previously abused, okay, so the child porn that's already been made, and then you would offer them some sort of compensation if you could get their consent to use it in a therapeutical setting or whatever, would be the idea.
Consent to distribute people's abuse. All right, Destiny. All right, that completely makes sense.
Critics need to distinguish between which avenue they want to go down, the normative ethics route or the applied ethics route. Do you disagree with Destiny's normative framework of consequentialism? Or do you disagree with his methodology for achieving the outcome he wants? But Destiny sees it differently. From his perspective, he's looking at the net positives rather than the nasty work in the trenches.
I mean, I'm going to side with the
Well,
researchers over random people in a Discord chat, but I mean, it's a pretty reasonable assertion. I mean, if you want more kids to get raped, I mean, that's
It's
cool on you guys.
reasonable.
Yeah, I mean, if you guys like kids getting raped, that's cool. Personally,
Whoa,
I don't
whoa,
like
whoa,
kids
whoa.
getting raped.
That's a
but
negative
that's just me.
association right there.
No, you're asserting the positive. You're saying that you would rather kids get raped than you would use child porn that's already been
No,
produced
we're
in a
not.
therapy
Well,
setting. That's what you're saying. That you would.
Ridiculous.
The logical endpoint from a deontological view is worse results. In this case, higher rates of child abuse. And that's kind of the point of deontology. You ought not lie, even at a great cost to people's well-being. The problem is that these people want both the satisfaction of getting good results and the appearance of looking good in the public eye. But in reality, you can't have both. This is the great divide, consequentialism and deontology. You can do the right thing, or you can get good results, but you can't have both.
Already been produced, that you would get the consent of the person that it was produced of, right? You
And
would
there are
get their.
people who, and you call yourself, you
Why would-
literally question if it's moral for CP to be struck. You question. It's not a firm thing with you. Everyone else here agrees that CP is fucking terrible and there is no context for it.
Brittany just doesn't understand. Destiny isn't endorsing CP. He wants to use it instrumentally to reduce overall child abuse. It may feel icky to do something like this, but he's willing to get his hands dirty to make other people's lives better. Brittany can't say the same. She lives in a world of flowers and rainbows. She doesn't like getting into the trenches because certain ideas might make her feel bad. But that's the price of knowledge. Knowing more doesn't make you happier. It puts more weight on you. It makes you suffer more. But it can also mean you can achieve more of your desired results. Brittany clearly lacks this kind of understanding because she doesn't even know what's wrong with incest.
What I was asking was if there were
How's your husband
arguments,
watching that?
if there were arguments against incest. Do you have any? I'm curious.
You're really asking, do I have any arguments against?
Yeah, I'm curious. Do you have any?
I don't know, like maybe reproducing something that has mutations if you get pregnant?
So you're pro eugenics?
Or
You don't think?
ruining-
Well, stop. One
or
argument at a
ruining
time,
animal
Brittany.
relationships,
So do you
or
think
the
that,
fact that
Brittany,
it's
Brittany,
immoral?
one at a time, baby.
It's true that there can be many negative outcomes, but those are not arguments about the intrinsic nature of incest itself. When people argue against incest, they usually attack things other than the act itself. They point to power imbalances, mutated children, or social repercussions. But the problem is that they're not attacking the subject itself. They're talking around it. That's why qualifiers are introduced, to get to the root issue.
If you want the state to go in, if a brother is banging his sister and she can't reproduce, I don't know how you can demonstrate.
Why does
let
reproducing
me-
matter in this?
I'll
scenario?
explain
Sure.
why, so that you can't bank on reproduction as being a harm because it could have like some kid who's all fucked up. So I'm just taking that out of the equation.
Okay. I gotcha.
I'm just taking that out of the equation, right? She has no uterus, they can't reproduce, or maybe they're homosexuals, right? And they're just related.
People like Destiny and Andrew Wilson have realized how effective this tactic is against people who aren't philosophically literate, because it's the perfect rhetorical tool for forcing their opponent to bite a bullet that always makes them look bad. On the incest question, you either must accept that there's nothing intrinsically wrong with incest, which most people never do, or you look stupid fumbling around for some excuse for why it's wrong.
Brittany, you haven't given a single argument against incest. I'm starting to think that you're pro-incest.
Destiny, you're the one questioning it.
So if you ask a question about something, that automatically means you agree with it?
It's pretty obvious to everyone that it's not okay. It's
But
pretty
I'm asking
obvious
why.
that
I'm just
everyone
asking
believes
why,
this.
Brittany. I'm just asking why. I know the reasons it's not okay. I've already given the explanation before. I'm curious why
Okay,
you think it's not
Destiny,
okay.
let's-
The only thing obvious is that Brittany clearly doesn't understand what's wrong with incest, and that's why she has to appeal to the masses. Saying that it's wrong because it's obviously wrong isn't a justification, it's a deflection.
You're trying to pivot. You're pivoting away.
And so I just want to leave you with a hypothetical to consider. Let's say there were a massive population of children and a facility full of PDF files who were fed endless amounts of AI-generated child sexual material every day so that they wouldn't go out and swarm that population of children. It's a disgusting facility. What's happening in there is revolting. To deontologists, this may be morally wrong. So, would you shut down that facility and stop the production of that material, even if doing so meant those adults would leave in droves and start acting out their fantasies in real life?